I'm going to show you how to deal with another little problem. If you watched the other videos, you may remember that I mentioned that this door was rubbing, the screen door in particular, was rubbing on the door sill. Well, again, being a 1979 and on the order of 40 years old, 41, whatever, these hinges had really worn. This piece, this will go on the door like this, go in the door opening like this. And then just to show you here, the screen door hinges fit in these bottom slots. And I hope you can see this. Let me turn the camera just a little bit. So these fit in these bottom slots. And the door itself, these fit in here. And then the, actually that's upside down. These fit in here like this. Nope. I did have it right. And the screws go through this into the door itself. These things have, let me show you the factory one first. They have little inserts in there. They're actually made out of plastic, and they're meant to prevent wear as the thing pivots. Several of these are missing or were worn out, and that's a real problem. It's going to be always going to be hard to get your door to fit right when stuff like this is worn out. And because from manufacturer to manufacturer things vary a little bit, you probably don't want to have to try to find a brand new door frame and door that will fit your trailer. Maybe that's possible, I don't know. But again, trying to save money, there is probably more than one way to fix these, and I'm going to show you my way. This, as I said, those are the factory inserts. There's also in the on the hinge for the screen door, they're in there too. If you can see what I'm touching there. And there's 3 hinges, and they all have one top and bottom. Now the bottom 2 hinges, the lower insert bushing is gone, missing. So what I did, I went to the hardware store, Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware in Edmonton, Kentucky is just 8 miles from me. That's why I don't go, if I can help it, I don't go all the way to Glasgow and go to Lowe's. Ace is just closer. But I found some things. If you can see this little thing, this is a set. These were 70 cents a set. This is a screw. I hope you can see that I'm taking it out. This is a screw, and it's made to use in any number of circumstances where you would drill a hole, put this piece into the hole, put your work piece, say it was something like that, you would put that in your hole you drilled, and then put this screw in from the other side and tighten it down. That's what it is. There are probably several uses it was intended for. It was not intended for this, but, you know, never be deterred. I took a couple of pieces in with me to see what I would need. I found those. Lo and behold, you see that? The threaded part fits in here almost perfect. You can see I've already put 2 of them in there. So there we go, took care of that part. Now, to take up the slack, let me bring this over here maybe where I can show you a little better. And even though, alright, it'll go in this way. You see when this goes in there, you see how much slack there is there? I know it may be hard to see it from there, but there's, I would say, 3/32 of slack. If you put your door in with that, your whole door can move up and down that much. That's not a lot, but it's enough to maybe make it difficult to get your door to close right and everything all the time. And so you need to do something about that. And some of these are worse than others. Oh, and by the way, there's a long rod that's maybe an 1/8 inch diameter, and it goes through here all the way down through this, goes through, you put your hinge in, it goes through that hinge, then goes down, goes through your screen door hinge, goes down all the way to the bottom. Goes from one end all the way to the bottom, goes down to about here. And that's just a rod that all of this pivots on. Let me put that hinge down. Well, no, let me show you this first. Now, to take up this slack, I knew, because I've seen them before, I don't think I'd ever bought any, but Ace Hardware has these things. Can you see that? Let me put this down, put the hinge down. These are nylon spacers. You can see how small that thing is. It's maybe 5/16 diameter from one side to the other. And I took a drill bit with me that is just the size of that rod, that long hinge rod. I took a drill bit with me so I would know what size to get. And look at that, you see that hole through there? I figured I would need maybe 3 of these, 1 for each hinge on the door. I don't know yet if I'll need any for this or not. But I wasn't sure how thick they would need to be, because some of those are wore worse than others. So I got 3 of that thickness and 3 of that thickness. This one is about twice as thick as this one. Same little hole. These will go and I'll put these on the bottom. So by putting it on the bottom, it'll push the hinge up. And if I'm going to have a problem, it's going to be with the door being too low. I'm pretty sure that it'll be easier to not get it too high. So when I put this in there, I'll put one of these little spacers underneath it. And I can see that one's, even this smaller one is a little too thick. But I'll show you in a minute how I'm going to deal with that. But, and here would be the same. One of these, if I can find it, is wore a lot more. There's one. Now this still won't quite go in there. Maybe it'll go in the bottom one. Closer. Here's one. There, that will go in there, and then this little spacer will go right there. And again, I hope you can see that. At least you can tell what I'm doing. And to prevent the spacer from wearing on the metal, I got some of these little tiny metal washers, and they're just big enough to work in here. So rather than have a bushing, a nylon bushing spacer, rather than have that wearing directly on metal, I'll put these in. So you get the idea of that. Now let me get these things out of my hand. Now, these spaces where the hinges pivot, they were worn so bad, they were worn crooked. I think it was mostly the bottom ones. They were crooked and kind of chewed up because the little inserts, the factory inserts, being gone, they just wore against each other. So what I did, I'll show you a surface here. I think you can see this. You can see how shiny this is. What I did, I went on each one of these and filed it. I've already done them all. All of them on this piece and on the hinges themselves, where they needed it. But that's what I did. Just use a good flat file and file those off nice and flat and straight again. You can see there, if you can see that, you can see the edge coming off as I run the file up. There. Just to show you how you can dress something like that up. And we'll see when I get this put back together how well the door works. Because I have no idea. I just believe, I have confidence that my method will work. So we'll see how it works when I get it back together, but I wanted to show you how to do that because, again, these doors will be expensive to buy a new one and maybe hard to find. So we'll be back again when I got something else.